Well, g'day hobbyists and welcome back to The Hobby, the podcast where we explore all things related to hobbies and passions, from trading cards to pop culture and everything in between. My name is Dean Alsop, your host, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, the Colonel.
What's happening, Dino? What's happening, hobbyists?
How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. However, Seahawks coming off a loss. We're no longer 3-0. But we weren't the only ones to lose as well.
Yeah, I know how that feels. The Seahawks and the Steelers both had a really good start to the year, which is nice for a change.
Yeah, we were getting ready to book our holidays.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we're gonna need the playoffs off. But look, I mean, I think for the Steelers anyway, it was going to be a bit of a rebuild season because we'd spent the last couple of years trying to work around Kenny Pickett and it just didn't work out. And then to bring Russell Wilson in, who's injured, and then Justin Fields has just stepped up and playing like an absolute weapon. I didn't expect to be 3-0 anyway, so I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be really tough to see Russell taking that spot back because Fields is playing pretty well. We just got done by a really good team. The Lions are like, top 3 or 4 Super Bowl favorites. Jared Goff comes out, throws a perfect 18 of 18 game, and it was like 42-28. Like the scoring was immense for a Monday night game as well. It was absolutely mental. So we'll bounce back this week. We got the Giants. That should be a bit of a shoe-in for us, which will be good. But yeah, it was pretty disappointing to see that.
Yeah, I think for you guys, losing to the Lions is almost expected for probably nearly a lot of teams because they're like in that premiership window. Whereas we lost to the Colts. So,
Richardson has not been playing well. There's no reason you should have lost.
George Pickens just got a little overconfident, I think, during that game and was carrying the ball a little obnoxiously, I dare say. And it may or may not be the reason why we lost. I don't know.
Maybe.
Don't come after me, GP.
Yeah. Well, Dino, what do you reckon? Let's get stuck into some news.
Yeah, let's jump into the news.
Dino, Goldin Auctions, Golden Watch. I've come armed this week.
Okay.
I've got more than 5. I've got 7. I couldn't pick 5 auctions that I wanted to go with.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the cool sales that we've seen. So, first one for $4,270 USD, 2009 Harry Potter Half-Blood Prince autograph, Daniel Radcliffe, Tom Felton, dual sign card PSA, New Mint 7.
Love that. Big Harry Potter fan. Obviously, my son's name is Harry.
Harry Potter? It's a cool looking card.
That's pretty big for like a Harry Potter trading card. I know in terms of Harry Potter collectibles, there's some big stuff out there, especially like the books, like when you go first edition for a lot of the books. I'd looked into it and there's some big money across like all languages and stuff. There's some like big money out there.
Yeah, for sure.
But the trading cards, it kind of is very much at the entry level for a lot of the Harry Potter collector stuff. So it's cool to see that a trading card is bringing in some bank.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone grew up with Harry Potter. The craziest thing though is it didn't win like any awards. Like when it was going through like current movies, like as far as like big, not Logies, that's the Australian one.
Like Oscars and stuff.
It didn't win a single Oscar, which is crazy.
That stuff's all rigged anyway. It took like Leonardo DiCaprio like 20 years to win one.
Yeah.
And he won it for a movie that I haven't even seen.
Ridiculous. It's we watch that series every year. We go through and watch all movies. It's absolutely iconic, but good to see a really strong sale there. I've got $4,880, a 2023-24 Bowman University Chrome Prospect Refractor, Caitlin Clark, Rookie of the Year.
She's back.
149 at 250. It's at PSA 10.
CC.
She got 66 out of 67 votes, Rookie of the Year. Absolutely smashed it out the park.
Who is that one person that voted for somebody else?
Oh, I'm not sure. But Angel Reese was the one that got the other vote. So
Must be Angel Reese's like second cousin or uncle or something that just happened to be on the board and just voted for them.
Yeah, I don't know what they're watching. But Caitlin Clark cards are going absolutely nuts at the moment. Of course, Rookie of the Year, which also ties in really nicely with the next sale, 18,910, number 47 of 50, PSA 10, Gold Refractor, Victor Wembanyama.
Hey.
Another Rookie of the Year. I mean, the two of them just lived up to the hype. Something shocking.
Yeah.
And their cards are going crazy.
Yeah.
And I know as far as submissions into PSA, Victor Wembanyama, the number of cards that are going through there at the moment are more than any other player before in history.
I'm pretty sure I saw something, and I wish I had the facts because I didn't know this was going to come up. But I saw something from PSA, and it was like all-time cards submitted. Victor Wembanyama is already in the top 5.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like Victor Wembanyama and then Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, that's how many cards are being subbed. Like, it's something ridiculous like that. I don't have the exact fact and figures, but yeah, it's nuts.
It's scary too because all reports going into the new season is he's put on like 5 kilos of muscle. So he's already super athletic, can shoot the 3 ball. Now he's putting some size on. Dude is an absolute freak.
Mate, all it's going to take is a couple of playoff MVPs and a couple of championship rings and a base Topps Chrome rookie Wemby that, I mean, a Prism one right now you can buy raw for like $15. Gets a PSA 10, it's probably worth like $80. You hold on that for like the next 10, 15 years, it's going to be worth at least a couple grand.
Yeah, well, look at the hype that from a few years ago where the Luka rookie was $700 for a PSA 10, you know, and that's dropped down like pretty substantially now. But in the like, everyone wanted Luka. Like,
isn't that because Luka can't win a championship though?
What do you mean he can't win a championship? He'll get one. He's a freaking freak.
Well, until then, his cards will keep going down.
Very true. Okay, $6,970. I've got a Nintendo Game Boy video game system here. It was graded by VGA and it was given a 90. So
that's pretty high.
Yeah, that's a really, really good grade.
What did it sell for?
$6,970.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. You think about all your Game Boys and your
You know, just like a beat up Game Boy Color from back in the day, right now, as long as you put batteries in and it turns on, sells for like $100 to $150.
That's crazy.
With no box, nothing, just the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I'm sure people got them laying around. So you want to sell them, hit me up, I'll buy them.
Dino's going to clean them up. All right, $53,680. We've got 1970 to 80s Ric Flair's match-worn green alligator boots.
What?
Yeah.
Like what, 60 grand?
Yeah, almost 60K on these
For
boots.
some alligator boots.
Yeah, they look so sick though.
Who's gonna, do you reckon the person that buys them is going to like put them on and like parade around their bedroom with their 4-post bed and be like jump off the top rope or something? Be like, woo!
Role play, massive role play. I hope there's a really big wrestling couple out there that have these boots, and they're going to get put a new term to knocking boots per se.
And then literally at the end, woo!
Woo!
Good old Ric Flair.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, and the last one I've got for you. This is a really, really big card. $854,000. 2004-05 Upper Deck Collection Signatures Logo LeBron James 1 of 1 PSA 10.
LeBron James.
LeBron freaking
James. LeBron James.
Man, we've seen some of the
GOAT.
We've seen some of the biggest card sales in the basketball.
A-goat. Say A-goat.
A-goat.
It's starting to be like a field of goats.
I can get around that.
You know,
you made a stupid
instead of arguing that Kobe, Jordan, and LeBron, like, who is the GOAT? You're like, well, we've just got a herd of goats now. They all deserve to be called the greatest of their respective time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a really big argument for Steph and Jokic.
Steph definitely. And I guess Jokic too.
He's got 3 MVPs, 2 chips. He's got a lot of basketball ahead of him.
Yeah.
What happens if he wins another MVP or 2 and another chip? Like, that's pretty intense. And Steph stopped LeBron a number of times.
Yeah.
All very different players, but I think we're in a really just good time.
That's what I mean. You heard it here first, guys. A field of goats.
Yeah. But
not just a goat, it's a field of goats now.
When I was looking through like the auctions on Goldin, I just had to pick more than 5 this week because they all kind of stood out. But that's all I've got for you.
But it doesn't blow my mind. Like, I'm not surprised. Like, because what'd you say, 850 grand or something?
850,000.
So that's over $1 million Australian for that.
Yeah, like 1.1,
for that
1.2.
card. Yeah.
And we also got some of the biggest basketball cards, have been LeBron's. You think about that triple logo man that was actually on the King of Collectables, the 1 of 1 that sold on there for 2.4 million, I think it was, or 2.3 million.
Yeah.
So the high end LeBron cards are really, really collectible.
Yeah. No. Awesome. Was that it?
That's it, mate.
That's it for Goldin.
What are you bringing to the table today? What news have you got for me?
Well, look, we've got an action-packed episode in terms of what we want to discuss in the main topic because there's a lot happening there. So I've got a couple of quick little things we'll touch on just across some of the games that I usually like to cover because there's just a little bit of news here and there. Starting off with Disney Lorcana. Finally here in Australia, there's Aussie Store Champs. So throughout the month of October, there's quite a lot of stores that are running them, which is great to see. But with Australia having no direct access to the first 4 sets as they released throughout the last year and a half, we never had any real competitive play scene, like a Ravensburger-backed tournament product play scene. So this is the first time. That's going to be running all of October. It's really exciting, so it's good to see. Yeah. It'll just help the game grow. So that'll be a bit of fun.
That's awesome. I've actually got some breaking news as well. Just before we started filming, one of our friends, Matty Stanley, is playing today. So far, he's 6-2.
6-2.
So he's smashing it today.
Yeah, I know he's doing quite a few as well. I reckon he said he signed up for a few of them.
Yeah, but keep going, mate. By the time this comes out, you've probably already played 2 or 3 of them. But
yeah,
for this first one, 6-2. That's pretty good for a first tournament.
Yeah. So good luck, Matty. One Piece, not a lot to report there. There is a regional scheduled for the end of December. Unfortunately, I have a couple of weddings that week, so I won't be able to play, which is a shame because, it would be nice to up my win percentage based on the last time, but sometimes life just gets in the way. You can't play in every tournament.
Yep.
So that's a bit of a bummer, but PRB is about to drop next month. So in November, that'll be really exciting. That's the big set that they're doing. There's got a lot of reprints in it.
Okay.
So, for the collectors, it'll shake a few things up. Because it'll affect value because they've reprinted some of the bigger collectible cards that are also playable.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to sort of see what that does to the whole market. The interesting thing to note, though, is the Japanese variant of this set. They had God packs that had one of every manga up until EBO1, so up to OPO6, I think it was. And usually when they do God packs in Japanese, we just get treasure rares in English. Whereas in this situation, they've gone and printed the mangas in Japanese again. So they're going to have to do it in English because it's always the same set list, basically. Or you'd think they'd have to. So it's just going to be interesting to sort of see what happens. In terms of price on those boxes, I've seen them come out relatively low because I think people are scared that, they're going to drop because of the type of set that it is, being a reprint set. There's not many new cards, just new adaptations of cards or of the artwork and stuff.
Yep.
But I think once we figure out, if they decided to go, all right, we are doing the manga guide pack in English, watch the price of those boxes just go to the moon instantly, overnight.
For sure.
So it's an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, the TCGs, they always take a different approach with these things as well because in in Pokemon, a Japanese God pack versus an English God pack. The English one in 151 was 3 cards.
Yeah.
Whereas in Japanese, it was the full pack was a God pack. So it'd be interesting to see what angle One Piece take with that. Yeah.
It'll be cool to suss out. Sorcery, we just come off the back of an episode chatting with Mike. It feels good to be talking about sorcery. I'll tell you that much. Arthurian Legends just dropped, unfortunately delayed here in Australia, only by a week or so that's not too bad. We should start seeing it hit Australian stores this week, which by the time this episode drops is actually last week. So that'll be exciting, but I've seen a lot of cool cards, man. Like it's Arthurian Legends, right? So it's like Knights of the Round Table, that kind of era. My God, man. People, if you've never watched or looked at sorcery before, do it now.
Go do it.
It is insane.
Yeah.
So I probably should have got more to stream because I guarantee you, the like 6 or maybe 8 boxes I've allocated to sell on stream, they'll be gone night one. Yeah. I can tell you. I'll show you people the box. I'll show you the box, and you'll be like, I need one.
I'll be taking one.
It is phenomenal the way it looks. So do yourself a favor, guys. Google it. Go check it out. Suss it out. Yeah. It's going to be wild.
And make sure you go back and watch our previous episode where we talk with Mike for over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yep. It was of titanic proportion.
Every time you say Knights of the Round Table, I always think of Monty Python. You know that you know that song where they're all like dancing up on the table and he kicks the chicken? Oh man, it's so funny.
And to wrap us up with the news, Star Wars Unlimited still going strong. A lot of showdowns have been happening the past week, and they've got a new set called Twilight of the Republic dropping in November. This is a pretty highly anticipated set because it's circles around like Attack of the Clones and the Clone Wars and stuff like that. And I feel like that's a part of the Star Wars universe people really got into. It was kind of like that Rebirth section after the original 3, and then we went back to episode 1, 2, and 3. I think the Clone Wars was episode 2 maybe or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, and the Clone Wars also had the really big TV series, the cartoon animated.
It did, yeah.
So there was a lot of seasons around that.
Yeah.
I know really big Star Wars people said that the TV show was as good as watching a movie, you know, very good as well.
Yep, so that's highly anticipated. So that's going to be a bit of fun. But that's it. That's it for the news today, because we are about to dive into a huge topic. Not for everybody. There'll be people that will probably switch off here or they haven't even got this far because of the title of the episode. But we are going to talk about the rise, the fall, and the rebirth of MetaZoo.
Man, it feels good. It feels good.
It feels good for us to talk about MetaZoo, right? Because we actually like it.
Yeah, and it's where our friendship started.
No, our friendship started before that. I was still collecting Rayquazas and Pokemon. It's where our business ventures together started.
Very true. Very true. So we got tight.
Yeah. Short memory over there.
I don't know what to say to that. I got nothing.
I think the best way to do this is probably just run through like the timeline of MetaZoo's history. Because I think even some of the listeners that collected MetaZoo and played it and still love it and did love it probably aren't aware of exactly how sort of when things came out, because as it happened in the US, it wasn't reflected here. So it was May 1st in 2020 when Mike Waddell legally founded MetaZoo. That was basically, I guess, the day when he must have applied for the MetaZoo LLC company name, and it was technically founded on that day. And at that point in time, it's worth noting, it was Mike and only Mike. That was it. Nobody else. Not another soul. Because May 1st in 2020, July 30th in 2020 was when the Kickstarter launched. And that only raised, it was fully funded, but it only raised like 18,000 USD or something.
Yeah, well,
something like that.
At that stage, Kickstarter is still in its infancy in terms of, you know, it's not as popular as what it is now.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Because MetaZoo was the one that launched the platform of Kickstarter and what was actually possible off it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of its success on the platform. It was purely because of its success post the platform.
Yeah.
Because again, like MetaZoo didn't shatter any records or anything. There's games like Sorcery and Altered that have gone on to do millions and millions in fundraising, whereas MetaZoo, you know, did thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in fundraising.
Yep. Did you hear of MetaZoo back then, or do you know someone that was involved from that early stage when it first launched on Kickstarter?
I've got some friends in the US that were like backers, like maybe one or two, but a lot of people that were in that community all came to the party very late. Well, not very late, but post Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I mean, it's probably why around that time, around the next part of the timeline. So Feb 15th in 2021. So it's that 8 months after the Kickstarter launched, Kickstarter product actually begins to get received and it goes out to people. And that's when you start to see the price shoot up. So in that period from basically when the Kickstarter finished to when the Kickstarter product actually went out, this hype train built. And that's sort of where Kickstarter boxes across the year of 2021 went from like $800 to, I think the highest one in AUD sold for like 10,000 Australian dollars.
Wow.
For a Kickstarter box.
Yeah.
Apologies and commiserations to the guy that bought that because it ain't worth that no more.
Unless he bought it, did a box break, ripped it, and sold it for 12.
Yeah. Which is, you know, there's high possibilities that's what happened. Or he opened it and there was a Mothman in there, he graded it, sold it, whatever.
Yeah.
You never know.
I must add that Feb 15th, 2021, we're in the absolute hype of trading cards at that stage. You know, we've just had Logan Paul with Pokemon popping off. Everyone's getting involved with like lockdowns with COVID and whatnot. That is prime time if you're going to launch a TCG to go in. Because
That's what I mean. Like when because May 1st, I got married in February of 2021.
Wasn't invited to the wedding.
Sorry,
Thanks for that.
2020. Didn't even know you in 2020. And I believe it was March was the very first lockdown, like in Australia anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess you're right, because that's kind of when I guess it really was COVID. Like the haters out there that are like, oh yeah, it was only because of COVID. I guess that's a fair argument, because it basically was throughout the whole time of COVID that it was really sort of popping off.
Yeah.
But it was a perfect storm. There's a lot of parts of MetaZoo that was a perfect storm, because the idea and the IP behind it is brilliant. And that's why it's about to be bought, which we'll get to at some point. This is interesting. I didn't think this happened that early on, but apparently on March 16th in 2021, MetaZoo minted its first NFT.
That world is something I'm not very across.
Well, is that the start of the downfall? Maybe. Don't know. They did a lot of great things after that, so perhaps not. But was the writing on the wall then? Like, you know, NFTs, like where are they at now?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't heard anyone mention NFT for a really long time.
They sort of just like, I don't even know. Like nobody talks about it anymore. Like I don't see it on social media. I don't see it anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the Gilmore Girls. It's just gone.
The Gilmore Girls. How's the reference?
Now, more importantly, July 1st, 2021, Crypto Nation First Edition is released. So that's when the world starts to get involved. That's when it really sort of breaks the shackles off and starts becoming a beast. Because even first edition boxes, I think at their highest, were about $1,500 Australian for a first edition box. A box that you can now pick up for like $200. Like it's a fall from grace.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about the prices this stuff was going for back then. But all this is happening, right? And while it's happening, at this point, I'd say myself, Matt, and Danny probably still don't know about MetaZoo. And if we did, we weren't like fully into it just yet.
Yeah.
Because Matt and Danny were the two that got me into it. Well, Danny started it. Danny was definitely into MetaZoo first.
Yeah.
Convinced Matt before he could convince me, and then Matt helped him convince me. But that kind of all happened in like a couple of weeks. It didn't take that long, so I didn't bother going back to see when Matty. There's so many messages. It would take me forever to try and figure out when that actually happened. But July 30th, 2021, right? So we're now basically a year after MetaZoo's been founded. That is when Steve Aoki and Shaw Mead from Goldin Distribution, not Goldin Auctions, Goldin Distribution, actually joined MetaZoo.
Some high-profile people right there.
Particularly, well, Shaw Mead's probably more known in America because he owns a company or a franchise of card shops called Game Castle or something like that. Not really relevant here, but Steve Aoki, everybody knows. So I think at that moment, you get Aoki start pumping it all over social media while you've got Logan Paul pumping Pokemon all over social media, and the MetaZoo hype trains, like, that's when it's going off.
Yeah.
So it's probably more around this time when box prices are at those like all-time highs, really starting to pop off.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, oh, if Aoki's in this, like, we need this. We got to get in this, blah, 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 blah.
And the set itself, really popular set. Demand, what was it, 50,000 box print run for CN1? Or was it 50,000 high demand? I remember seeing it from the outside.
Actually, CN1 would have been 25,000.
Oh, 25,000?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Kickstarter was like 2,000 boxes.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But
I remember seeing CN1 box breaks where you could pick up an art set for about $160, I think it was, about $40 a pack.
yeah, I remember the first CN1 box break we ever did was like $50 a pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
something like that.
Yeah, really iconic set. And then Aoki and Shaw join. What's the next set? Does Nightfall come next or
No, so it actually was. It was Topps MetaZoo Series 0. Well, that and Nightfall basically come out in October of 2021 at the same sort of time.
Okay.
That's sort of when that happens. So Nightfall comes out. We won't really focus on Topps MetaZoo Series 0. Well, I mean, we can, but like there's nothing really to report there. The boxes were weighable. It was a horrible product. It didn't really work. They had first sightings in there. They were big money. It was cool, though, at that point in time to see that MetaZoo and Topps were working together. Mm-hmm. That was probably the pivotal thing to take away from that moment. So MetaZoo's still very much on the rise at this point. Still in the rise section of MetaZoo and all that it is. Because Nightfall comes out and it just changes the game.
Yeah.
Like huge set. Glow-in-the-dark booster boxes, hollow foil on the booster boxes, things people had never seen before. Everybody's like, wow, these actually look great. Like huge delays, synonymous with MetaZoo now that we know, you know, all these years later.
Chasing
much so that Nightfall came out in October of 2021, and the first time I broke it was in February in 2022.
It's a delay.
That's a 4-month delay.
That's a delay.
That's a chunky delay. Basically 5 months, really.
Yeah.
But, you know, at this point, it really, really starts to pop off.
Yeah.
So to round out that first full year of MetaZoo actually being a card game and being printed was CN2. CN2 came out in December of 2021.
Yep.
Right at the end of the year. I think it was New Year's Eve, December 31st.
It's worth noting that by this time now in Australia, we've got Facebook groups set up. There's some real buzz. No, not yet. Not a Nightfall?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
I feel like everyone was talking about chasing the old scratch for, you know, the moment the product come out.
Not yet.
Haven't got there. I've jumped the gun.
You've jumped the gun. You've jumped the gun. I mean, all you have to do was look under what you just said and you can see it. Yeah. January 5th in 2022, I created MetaZoo Nation Australia. So what happened is Nightfall and CN2, and at this point, like I was balls into MetaZoo. I was like, I love it. This is awesome. This is sick. And I remember it was when I was still living in Elwood on the beach. So sitting over on the beach on New Year's Eve, and I said to, I think I messaged Danny and Matt, and I was like, hey, at this point in time, I was admin of one of the other Pokemon groups. I was like, I'm leaving this group. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to start a MetaZoo page. I want you two guys to do it with me. And they were like, hell yeah, let's do it. So 5 days later, after recovering from a hangover from New Year's Eve, I started MetaZoo Nation Australia. And from that moment on, me, Matt, and Danny were like just all in to MetaZoo. And then it must have been in February. I reckon it was February when we finally had Nightfall land. Well, it was in February. We had Nightfall land in Australia. Because I had to go to Gameology and I bought a booster box for like $350 of Nightfall from Gameology. Synonymous for that reason. And that was the first booster box break we ever did on MetaZoo Nation Australia. It was a Nightfall one. It was crazy though. It was like sold out instantly.
Yeah.
It was such a hot product. Like we used to take it so slow. You sleeve every card because they were all first editions, you know. Like I remember doing CN1 box breaks, like CN1, not even Kickstarter ones. And you'd sleeve every card. We'd even did like serialized void stickers on the back of packs, like the sleeves and stuff, like because we all thought that this is big stuff. Like we're basically putting base set packs away now for the future, which we could have been doing based on where we're going to get to in this Rise, Fall, Rebirth part of MetaZoo. But that was like what it was like in that moment. So you and I knew each other at that point because it was September of 2021 when we actually came together. Remember? We went back and you shot your shot, slid into my DMs, and dropped like a hey legend.
Smooth Kearns.
So it was. That was when. I feel like that was kind of when the Australia scene sort of started. Because to be fair, there was another MetaZoo group that sort of existed for maybe like 2 or 3 months before we created ours. Because I think Danny was involved in that. But it just wasn't, we just felt like it wasn't serving the community in the way that it should, which is why we just made our own one.
Yeah.
So you were kind of right when you said that in December and stuff, there was a MetaZoo group, just not our MetaZoo group.
Yeah. Before we move off Nightfall, that's where you got your Grim Reaper, your favorite beastie across all MetaZoo.
Yeah.
In that, do you remember opening that for the first time? What that felt like? Or were you chasing the Wendigo? You were so concerned about the Wendy that for you at the time it maybe wasn't as big of a hit, or did you look at it and go,
it was still a big hit because that exact artwork is my favorite one. Like the original Grim Reaper. There's so many other Grim Reaper artworks between that moment and now, but that one was for sure like my favorite. I did a stream literally a week ago. Did a case of Nightfall booster boxes for the guys and girls, and pulled a couple of Grims, and it was still like this card just rocks, just looks good. Like the idea of the Grim Reaper obviously is rather grim, you know what I mean, but the way he looks or that artwork, I just kind of enjoy it. I don't know why. It's a weird one. I'm not like a fan of death or anything. Maybe I like it because I don't fear death. I don't know.
Oh, wow, that's deep. Tell us more.
It's inevitable, right? It's going to happen to everybody. So why be scared of something you know that's coming?
Why not? Rate that.
Yeah. But then, now this. Is this where the fall starts? If you take it back and you look at MetaZoo up until this point, everything they'd done was actually pretty bloody great. They hadn't really made any boo-boos, no mistakes. A couple of slight delays here and there, but everything in terms of playability, collectability, market, print runs, everything was perfect. They'd done everything right. Enter Wilderness.
That's what it turned out to be, right?
I remember when Wilderness dropped, because it was probably the first set that kind of dropped at the same time, like here and in the US. So it was a really cool set. Again, holographic boxes. It had the Green Man, which was the first serialized secret rare. Obviously, we had red inks in first edition, blue inks in second edition, old scratch in Nightfall. All that we were told there were only 100 of, but there was no way to really prove that. We were just going by what the company said. Whereas with Green Man, they actually serialized him to 100. Not to mention the tickets, the gold, bronze, and silver tickets. To this day, we've only seen 2 bronze and 2 gold, and that's it. So there's still tickets out there. Doesn't mean anything now because it was meant to be like, there was, I think a golden ticket was ownership in the company. Silvers was a prototype Mothman, and bronze was a Kickstarter booster box. So, it'd still be cool to pull one. I'd be stoked if I pulled one. I'd be like, all right, this is cool. I'll grade it and hold on to it.
Yeah, for sure. Extremely collectible.
Extremely rare.
Yeah. And Wilderness also had the Plant a Tree initiative as well with the boxes.
Yeah. They did plant a tree for every booster box they did, which was 100,000.
Yep.
And the booster boxes were made out of recycled cardboard.
Yep.
So yeah, cool prospects, but the idea of going from 50,000 booster boxes to 100,000, we've seen companies make the same mistake, aka Flesh and Blood.
Yep.
They did the same thing and then retracted and fixed it. Whereas MetaZoo, it took way too long to fix, and I don't think they ever recovered. Literally, I don't think they ever really recovered from Wilderness. There was some great stuff that happens between now and when it actually ended, but I think, in my opinion, Wilderness might have been, or probably was, the beginning of the end.
Yeah, they destroyed the band. I remember seeing secondhand market Wilderness boxes, a third of the price of Nightfall, And from a collector standpoint, like if you can find them anywhere, it kind of takes the shine away.
I mean, why wouldn't you go from 50 to 100? Why wouldn't you just go, let's just chuck another 10,000 boxes into the market?
Yeah.
Why would you go, let's double what we're doing?
I don't even know why they added any. We could still find Nightfall boxes, and yeah, you had to pay a little bit of a premium on them.
Yeah.
But you were happy to do that because the product is great. Like the MetaZoo product is amazing. There's no doubting that.
Yeah,
But
it was just management and money, I reckon.
yeah. And I also thought from a set perspective, it was the first kind of look into a different type of collector market as well. Nightfall was really quite dark and same with CN1. And then you go into Wilderness, which was appealed a bit more to a different collector demographic.
It really did. Yeah.
It was a little bit lighter in terms of the beasties and a bit more colourful. So I thought I thought it was like really important in that respect, but there's pretty too much of it.
Too much. Yeah. So after that, we go to the most, I guess it honestly was, I reckon, throughout the whole MetaZoo journey, the most anticipated set that they were ever going to do. And that was UFO. And my God, did it disappoint. Yeah. It was bad. Like, they did some really cool stuff, right? They had 12 secret rares that were serialized to 10. They sent them out into space. They sent a sheet of holo out into space. They put a piece of that on every single booster box. But there was complaints about Wilderness having really reverse holo heavy boxes because MetaZoo is true random, not seeded. And then UFO, basically, to fix it, they just printed a lot more full holos, and then reverse holos are really hard to get. Like, you just could never find the happy medium.
Yeah.
So, it was just so much anticipation, and it just completely missed the mark.
It did. From an art perspective, I really loved the orbs in UFO. So I really found that quite romantic. The same with the whole, like the cards in outer space, I thought was just an amazing touch on it.
Yeah.
But to your point, I remember opening a Wilderness booster box with 34 reverse holos out of 36, and you're so disappointed. And then UFO, it's like, how do I finish my master set? Because it's 34 holos.
The most expensive reverse holos from MetaZoo still to this day are ones from UFO.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You just couldn't get your hands on it.
So they couldn't get it right. Which is disappointing considering up until Wilderness what kind of company they were. Because it was in 2021, which basically was from Kickstarter product going out to CN2 being released. That was apparently the year, I'm pretty sure it was 2021, or it might have been 2022, but there was one year where they did like 40 million in revenue. So, and then actually it might have been 2022. Who knows? I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's one fact I don't have in front of me, but it was one of those years. But then it was just all sort of went downhill from there because, then Hero Quest came out. So now UFO was July 2022. September 16th in 2022 is when Steve Aoki released his first Hero Quest. And that set was off the charts. It went nuts. The cards were huge. They were amazing. I remember talking about it on the MetaZoo podcast I did back then. We're like, this is phenomenal. And he was always talking about doing more series. And we're like, how are you ever going to do a series that lives up to this? Because this has all the best beasties in it. Like, it was just so, so good. And we were right, because Hero Quest 2 absolutely tanked. It was crap because they'd already used all the good beasties in the first one. Like, it was those kind of mistakes that they would make.
Yeah.
And I guess you just forgive out of the hope of them learning. But I guess in reality, when you look back now, there was really no learnings that was ever taken. And there's, there was stories the whole way along of them just not taking constructive criticism or feedback on board at all. They would just block you or ignore you. And that's probably half of the reason as well. It all kind of adds up.
Yeah. You lose the trust of the community. Was UFO delayed as well, or was that
no? UFO was bang on.
UFO was bang on. Well, that the point I'm trying to make here is, like, through most of the set so far, there's been some form of delay, and as we get further into it, there's continued to be delays. And once you lose that trust with people, it's really hard to get it back.
Well, the easiest way to lose trust with anybody is to print a set like Seance. So Seance was an amazing looking booster box, really cool cards, really dark, but really cool, right? Definitely not kid friendly stuff, but a really cool set. And after the disappointment of UFO, I guess there was a lot of excitement around Seance. Enter mapability. So now MetaZoo have gone, all right, we're trying to correct the issues from Wilderness and UFO and seed a certain amount of foils. It was meant to be like, all right, we'll make sure you've got 9 hollows in every box. But whether it be them or the printing factory, some lazy jerk off goes, all right, sweet. Well, this is easy. We'll just put 9 of the same artwork in the box. Well, that will be the full hollows. We'll just grab them off the line and stick them in.
Yeah.
So you would open 4 packs and you'd be like, oh, that pack's got the hollow in it. You open the same artwork. Every single one of those has a hollow. All the other ones are reverse hollows.
It created massive issues with the secondary market.
It lost an insane amount of trust, though. Like, we sold so much sales to people and they were so disappointed when they opened the product, and we felt so guilty, even though it had nothing to do with us. You know, like, it was just... you want your customers to have a good time with the product that you're selling them.
Yeah.
So that was just a real bitter pill to swallow. Like, Seance sucked.
Yeah, it was really difficult.
Yeah.
I know with
but that was when we pulled our first secret rares, you and I.
Yeah.
So like, we have some good memories there.
Yeah, my favorite TCG memory to date.
Yeah.
Pulling those secret rares.
Yeah. But as an overall set, again, like, they just failed to hit the mark.
Yeah. You feel like they're trying to trace their tail now. Yeah. You know, with the drop in, you know, popularity and demand from Wilderness, you know, UFO, they're just constantly trying to fix their mistakes.
Well, I wanted to, and like you said, Kearns, with this timeline, I've left out all the collaborations that they squeezed in between, which was probably the straws that broke the camel's back, because they never had enough time to really fix the core sets, because they were doing all those collabs. I left them out purely because I didn't want to sit here for 45 minutes just going this one and this one and this one and this one and this one. Like, you know, there was the revive sets and all that stuff. And, all that sort of stuff that went in there. You know, and like 30th anniversary sets, the Valentine's Day sets, the April Fool's sets, Christmas sets, Halloween sets, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, just these mini sets just sucked too much, I guess, time or utility out of the company resources, I guess, that they failed to make good core products.
Yeah, definitely overshot the mark there.
Yeah. And then enter probably something that I guess almost saved MetaZoo, and to this date is probably still one of the most popular products, mainly because it wasn't actually made by MetaZoo. It was a license agreement to Topps for Topps Chrome. MetaZoo Topps Chrome came out, and the MetaZoo market like literally forgot about everything else we've just gone through for the last 2 years, and it was like the hottest product out there. 101 Mothman selling for like 20 or 30 grand. Like, it was wild.
Yeah. You pulled the Blood Ruby 101. What did you pull?
No, I didn't pull any 101s. Swano pulled a Blood Ruby 101 for James.
Yeah.
Matty pulled a 101 Salem's Witch for himself. I never pulled any 101s, which is, thanks for rubbing a bit of salt in the wound there, you sea dog.
I'm going to apologise to Swano there. Sorry for taking that from you.
Oh yeah, no, that was me. That was totally me. But that set was huge. That was, and when I speak to people now about it, and I reckon I hope maybe somebody mentions it in the Hobby Heroes when we get to that shortly. You know, it's a lot of people's best memory about MetaZoo, for sure.
Anything Topps put their name against in a set is always amazing. Like, I was saying a few episodes ago about the Star Wars Topps we opened on live stream. Oh my God, those cards they look so good. And
are you getting more?
Oh, it's too expensive. Can't find them anywhere because it's 2016 or 2017 Topps. Like, it's a fair chunk, you know, fair time ago now to try and find them.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember opening Topps Chrome MetaZoo, and they went to the front of a binder. I got all my seance, pushed it back into the binder, and put my Topps Chrome to the front.
It's so good. It was so good. So this is like MetaZoo's risen. It's falling on its way down. Hits an uptick because of Topps Chrome, and then Native comes out, which was probably the best received set. They finally got it right. They got everything right. But at this point, I think behind the scenes, that none of us knew, the company was basically in dire straits.
Yeah.
Basically running out of money. Somehow they'd basically spent all their money, took all the money out, whatever they did. I don't know, they're driving around in G-Wagons and Lamborghinis and stuff. So, you know, F knows. And it is still one of the best sets. Native was just unbelievable, an unbelievable set. Absolutely loved it. And then Kuromi was the last set they did, the Hello Kitty collab, the first Hello Kitty TCG ever, and Hello Kitty's the second biggest IP just under Pokemon in the world, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, which is so surprising.
But since MetaZoo died, the biggest request I've had for anything is Kuromi.
Yeah, right.
People that don't even know about MetaZoo. I put like a couple of MetaZoo slabs, not big Kuromi slabs, up on eBay, and they went for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, people want them.
Well, if you remember listening to when we had Kim the Collector on, she had never heard of the Kuromi set. We sent her a bunch of cards after she came on the podcast, and she absolutely loved it. She reached out like wanting more. It's I'm just so surprised. Like, obviously, like you said, behind closed doors, it was gone, right? But Native and Hello Kitty, it like everything was on the wall for it to work for the comeback. Because Native, you're right, when we're opening products,
the company lost trust, like you said earlier.
Yeah, it was already done. But the Native stock, like those holos, the enjoyment of opening that product was some of the most fun I've had opening MetaZoo. And then to have, you know, the IP of Kuromi coming straight after it, like that's a strong back-to-back set that they had.
Just missed it.
But then it's all done.
It's all done.
It's all done.
It died. Because January 2024, on the 29th, Mike issues a letter saying MetaZoo is shutting down.
I remember waking up that morning, I had about 5 missed calls from you. And, you know, in between that time of talking to you, your mind starts ticking. Oh, no. You know, is everyone okay at home? Is he okay? Like, why has he called me? You think the absolute worst.
Yeah.
And then when you told me, I was like, oh, that's not such, it's like not such a bad
Nobody
thing.
died.
Yeah. I was like, nobody died. Everyone's okay. And then we got off the phone and then it sunk in and I was like, oh, this sucks.
Oh, wait a minute. We just put 2 years of work into something that's just been ripped out from underneath us.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah.
What was when you first read the letter, like left field?
I just stood at the door behind this curtain just looking at the sky for like 20 minutes. I took that day off work.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, God, I just need a day.
Yeah, physically sick. It felt like a bad breakup.
Yeah. Yeah.
It felt like a really bad breakup.
Yeah. Again, like a lot of things, I felt sad that journey was over. I felt sad that part of our business was over. I felt sad that we met so many amazing people and got them into it and we had all this camaraderie and that was over. Which turns out, that wasn't over. We still got a really great community of people that support us and we're all into other things and still reminisce about the good old days of MetaZoo and whatnot. So yeah, it was just a rough day, man. Yeah. It was a rough day to know that Mike, the founder and owner of that company, could just do that.
Yeah.
And just shut it down.
I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. Outside of you, I don't think I spoke to anyone else that day because I just wouldn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. Like, you sit there on a live stream and you sell a booster box to someone because you believe in the product and then it's all gone. You know, we invested a lot of money into MetaZoo and I don't regret that. But when you've taken people on that journey as well and they've got trust in you, you take that guilt on, even though you shouldn't. You take that guilt on.
No, you're right. You're right when you say we shouldn't. Like, we shouldn't feel that way. And a lot of people said that. A lot of people reached out to me that day to actually make sure I was okay.
Yeah.
Nobody reached out and said,
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That didn't happen. Because at that point, I think we'd had about $7,500 in pre-orders waiting on Legacy, which obviously wasn't going to come.
Yeah.
So within 24 hours, I had everybody refunded. Just gave them all their money back. I was like, of course, because there's so many people that didn't get money back.
Yeah.
I didn't get part of that money back because there was a part of Legacy that I'd already paid for and there was a part that we were still holding in the business account. So, that was a worry too at the same time. It was an interesting time to be me.
And then you look at like the MetaZoo Discord and the socials and all these things start shutting down and there's no way to communicate, Dude,
the Instagram shut down and then it started back up like a day later. Like, it was just crazy, man. Nobody knew what was happening. Like, apparently nobody knew Mike was putting that letter out. Like, MetaZoo couldn't even shut down properly. That became a meme. They couldn't even just go bankrupt correctly. Like, it was so funny, man. Like, in that sense, I had a chuckle. But let's fast forward to today. 9 months later, from when MetaZoo shut down. It was announced about 2 weeks ago that the highest offer for MetaZoo that was being considered still hasn't gone through. By the time this episode comes out, we should know whether or not it's been sold. I highly doubt that it won't go through, so I'm pretty confident that it will. Like, nobody else is going to pay more than $2 million. People were saying it was going to sell for like $100,000 when it first went bankrupt. So I'd be very surprised if it didn't. But as MetaZoo fans, this is an exciting possibility.
Yeah.
Do we dare to dream, though?
I do. So initial thoughts on that is the IP of MetaZoo. Obviously, here in Australia, like, you know, you, Matt, Danny James really were at the forefront of pushing that. And then the community started to grow and really enjoy MetaZoo. But in America, it was huge.
Yeah, it was
massive. So the product itself, obviously, you know, the people believe in it. The community believes in it. That's why, you know, these 4 people are in the position that they are, because they've gone after it. And we know that as far as progression of story for MetaZoo, they had 10 years of planning, which I could only presume probably, you know, they're going to take this on now. They might get rid of some of it, still incorporate some, but, you know, we talk about the expansion outside of, you know, North America and into different, you know, Asian markets and whatnot. And I think for people to come in and purchase it at the price that they did, I think there's some really positive signs there.
Yep.
At the helm.
Yep. I agree. I feel like I was the poster boy for MetaZoo for a period of time. And I don't know if I want to be that guy for Meta 2, you know, MetaZoo 2.0.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy it if it comes out. I don't know. Maybe I do want to be that guy. I don't know. I love MetaZoo.
Yeah. We've still got a lot of the products. Still got
so
the
much
booster
fun.
boxes sitting on the shelf behind.
MetaZoo.
The Casters Cup, the people we've met through MetaZoo.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a funny thing the other day, and it was from somebody posting about MetaZoo. And I was like, you don't know you're in the good old days until they're gone.
Yeah, for sure.
And I saw that and I was like, God damn it.
I wonder.
God damn it. That's right. Like when Danny and I flew over to Texas and went to the only Casters Cup that they ever held.
Yeah.
We thought we'd be going to those for years.
Yeah.
There was one.
There was one.
We were there.
Yeah.
Took it for granted because we thought we'd be going back.
Yeah.
And it just never, ever happened. They never were able to do the second one.
Yeah. You met
absolutely wild.
You met some amazing people over there, like champions.
Yeah. So many friends. So grateful for that experience. But it's
so. What is there any indicators on timings? I know you said that by the 9th of October is when it's expected to.
Well, that's when they would legally the trustee that's managing the bankruptcy can approve the sale. And then if they do, I guess there still would be probably a 30, 60, 90 day like settlement period for further due diligence or something like that. Probably to go in and actually count stock and make sure that what is outlined on the list and all that is actually there.
So set 1, which will be called Rebirth. That's what it will be. It'll be MetaZoo Rebirth. Trademark MetaZoo Rebirth. Do we reckon 12 months, 9 months, 2 years?
Based on the company and what they've paid for it, I dare say it'd be it'd probably be in Q2 next year. So you're looking like March, April, May, June, somewhere in there.
Yeah, they'd want to get cracking on it.
Yep. And the guys that are at the helm of that company would have the resources literally in their back pocket.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they do something with Legacy. I don't know. Maybe they completely change it up. I doubt they will. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. I really don't know. They could just keep going with what it was doing because if it was done correctly, it was brilliant. If you come in and completely change it, you don't know. Like that's a $2 million gamble then because you're just doing something else.
Sure.
It's like why buy the IP then? So I don't know what to expect. I think we'll enjoy it. I think we'll enjoy the ride either way. It feels good to be sitting here talking about MetaZoo again.
Yeah, for sure. When you mentioned that when like the shutdown was announced, a lot of people reached out to you. What's your DMs been like since the announcement of the possible buyout? Have you seen a lot of people coming out of the woodwork excited about it since?
Yeah. I would say the day it shut down, obviously I got a lot more messages.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Maddie and I put a couple of posts up just regarding the bankruptcy and then the potential sale and stuff, yeah, there's been people that have reached out and had discussions. For a period of time there, I sort of just refused to speculate though. I was just so burnt still and hurt from the shutdown that I just refused to let myself believe that something else was going to happen or something positive was going to happen. Just waited for news like this. That's why we haven't really spoken about it until the news that we've got, because now it's real world things are actually happening. It's not speculation, it's fact. So, yeah, I think that's enough of you and I jarring on about it, because we asked the listeners to call up today for the Hobby Hero section specifically about MetaZoo. So let's jump into the Hobby Heroes. Now, this should be a bit of fun, Kearns. It's the first time we've had a specific topic for callers to call up for. It should all be MetaZoo related, so let's just dive in. We've selected eight callers today, so let's get into them.
Hey boys, Manny here. What's your favorite MetaZoo card mechanic or interaction?
Ooh. Can you even answer that, Kearns?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the favorite card mechanic. I'm also thinking of just like the props to bring along. You know, like where you bring a fishing rod.
So the fourth wall mechanic.
The fourth wall mechanic of, you know,
which was its big point of difference.
Bringing a fishing rod or a cactus or, you know.
Something pretty outrageous, which happened when Danny and I were at Casters Cut. There's people walking around with like little bonsai trees because you needed like a tree to be within eyesight with, I think, the Wood Devil of Coos County.
Yeah.
People had fishing rods because there was a certain card that you needed to like have a fishing rod for. It was pretty wild. Like, I think that's a good one. The fourth wall, obviously, it was pretty game breaking or game defining for MetaZoo. The game mechanic that I enjoyed most when I used to play it was burn. Burn was always good fun because you basically either set burn to the opposing caster or a particular beastie, and then whenever they would attack, you know, they're doing damage to themselves. It was a bit of fun. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It used to piss people off, so I liked it. Burn was a good one.
There was the card where if the person you're versing was under 13, you'd get bonus attack as well.
Yeah.
Just squash the little players.
Yeah. There was a card that was like it was like the Sea Baby or something, and it was like, oh, if your opponent's pregnant or whatever, it's like take another turn or something like that. Like there was some really specific like card mechanics like that was a bit of fun. But thanks, Manny with a call up for the first time. Appreciate it. Let's go to the next one.
Hey guys, it's Trementic. Regarding the continuation or somebody buying MetaZoo, I'm honestly excited, but whoever the group or the company is that actually acquired them, they're going to have to earn that trust back, not just from me, but probably from the community at large. And the reason why I use the word excited is I think whoever would spend the amount of money that they did on this company and this idea has to still see the value in it, the longevity that I always saw in it, in the story, in the cards, in the idea, the community that we created. There's value in that. So I'm hoping, like my big hope, honestly, is that the people in charge know what they're doing, because that was always the downfall of the old company. And I have faith that they will. I want to see what the future brings. And like I said, though, the big thing they need to really work on is that trust. They need to earn the trust back. And I'm hoping that they do.
good friend of the show, good friend of mine, I should say, now good friend of the show, Rob Tomentic. I used to do fortnightly live streams with him throughout the journey of MetaZoo, where we would basically sit down and talk about everything that was going on. So really appreciate you calling in, Rob, and absolutely quality statement, I guess, because that is something we'd already just discussed previously as we were talking about it, is there was so many things that went wrong and we got burned so many times that even though the new company is not the old company, they're definitely still going to have to win the trust back. And it's really going to hinge on that first set. What's that first set going to be? What's it going to look like? Can you get it out in time? Can you get the box opening experience right? You do all those things in set one, I guarantee you, because people are so passionate about MetaZoo, whether it be hate or love, you do that, and it's sky's the limit.
Yeah, for sure.
You make one mistake, you'll be eaten alive.
Yeah, unfortunately for the new buyers, they don't have a very long rope on this one. But it comes back to that we believed in the product. You just got to let the product do the talking and hit your timelines.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where you look at it's like if Bill Belichick was going to come and coach your NFL team. You know, he's a seasoned, experienced coach. He's won lots of Super Bowls. You just go, yeah, cool, we'll take Bill Belichick, you know? And with the team of 4, that's how I feel. So I feel really comfortable knowing
you've literally got Gronk, Brady, Belichick.
Edelman.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, we're going to be
that's
okay.
That's who's taking it over. They're coming to take over, you know, the Seahawks.
Yeah. So let the product do the talking. I'm really confident about it as well.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how we go. We'll watch this space. Let's go to the next caller.
Hey, Dean and Lee, it's Zoe here. Hope you guys are well. As you know, Nikki and I did enjoy collecting a little bit of MetaZoo. Not as big as you guys, but we did have quite a collection. So, definitely interested in listening to recent events and seeing where it's at. My question to you is, I've been keeping an eye on the recent sale, and then also listening to some YouTubers and stuff like that, but I'm not across everything. And I heard some YouTubers have been saying that they don't trust the recent sale, and they think that it's a bit of a ruse for people to get rid of stock, because some people have millions of dollars worth of stock. And I just wondered where your thoughts are with that. Do you think that it is a legitimate sale and that they have the best interests at heart? Or do you think that it is potentially just a ruse for people to get rid of millions of dollars worth of stock? Thanks. Speak to you soon. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Zoe, for calling in. Another really good friend of the show. I think this is the 3rd time.
Zoe.
Oh,
no way.
No way. I think it's the 3rd time she's called in now, which is great, right? We want to promote that. In terms of the allegations of it being a ruse or a rouse, I don't believe so. These 4 people...
False.
These 4 people have been involved in the TCG community for so long. They've worked their whole careers in building up names for themselves. They are legitimate, respected people in the hobby. And I don't see them doing the sale just because maybe they're stuck with a bit of product.
Well, those people aren't stuck with any product.
Yeah. Do we know
those
that?
4 people, mate, Richard Garfield and Scaff Elias don't need to buy a MetaZoo product. Same with Rick Aarons. You know what I mean? He's been an executive VP for the last 30 years in the industry. Yeah. You know what kind of money those people get paid? He doesn't need to shelf off MetaZoo stock. I know the video she's talking about, and there was 2 of them, full clickbait videos. Legit clickbait videos saying that, it's not a real sale, it's a ruse, you know, because now the product's actually moving and transacting. You know, it's all just BS.
Yeah.
Just BS in that sense of what she was saying about those videos and stuff. Because even then, MetaZoo was still selling. I know guys that were selling Kickstarter boxes for about $1,200, $1,300 Aussie. So, because they were about $800 US for the last 7 months. People are still buying them.
Yeah.
Sample cards still selling. Mothman sample still sold for $9,000
Yeah.
in the last 9 months.
Red, blue inks, old scratches, they're all still selling.
Still
really
selling.
well. Yeah.
So yeah, it was just inevitable that I think if MetaZoo was bought by somebody nobody knew, be in a different situation. If it was bought by like Hasbro, Bandai, Fanatics, or these game incubator labs that did buy it, this was always going to happen. People were going to try and snap it up while they could. And even then, like Nightfall booster boxes and CM1 booster boxes and stuff are slowly inclining in price, but you're still talking like anywhere from $50 to $100 US for a Nightfall box and $70 to $120 US for like a CM1 box. So, you know, nothing crazy there. But thanks, Zoe. Let's go to the next one.
Hello, legends. Melsky here. Just popping in to say that hello, and the MetaZoo Australia community is one of the best and friendliest I've ever been a part of.
Yay.
Hubby was originally drawn to MetaZoo as it was different to what else was available, and the cards looked pretty cool when we found it. I took a little longer, but started collecting river dinos. However, the more I dealt with it, the more I loved it. I then found the illustrated chapters. After reading the storyline, I was hooked even more. I have a few questions. What do you think made MetaZoo so popular? And in regards to the potential sale, do you see the new owners actually doing something with MetaZoo or just owning it and doing nothing? If they are going to do something with it, do you think the new owners will continue the original storyline with the original characters, or do you think they'll start from scratch with a new storyline and new characters? Thanks again, legends. Toodles!
Melsky, finally, we got her to call in. Yes.
I love the sign off Toodles. That's so awesome.
So good. So good. Couple of questions there. What was the first one?
So will the owners do something?
No, that was the second one. That's the one I remember.
First one, River Dinos.
Oh God, you weren't even listening.
No, what do you mean?
Look, I think to start with, the new owners, it's hard to know what they're going to do, but they're going to do something. Mel said then, do you think they're going to buy it and just like not do anything with it? Well, that's $2 million paperweight's a heavy paperweight for anybody. So they're going to do something with it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what do they have planned. None of us know yet, but you would assume if they're making a $2 million offer, $2 million US offer on something, they have some kind of plan.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. Are they going to stay exactly with the storyline? Not sure whether they will or whether they'll make their own.
Yep.
But from the early reports that we heard of the plan, it sounds really great. You know, the going across the seas, hitting Yokai Island.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it all sounded really great in theory.
There was some great stuff that was supposed to come. So hopefully maybe they just go down that road. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, if they just go, no, we're just going to pick up where it left off, or we're just going to do it properly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was a successful product. It was the management of the company that gave it a bad reputation.
Yeah.
It's really, really that simple.
And I think in terms of will they go with the same type of cryptids, like there'll be different cryptids as we move around the world to different areas.
Actually, that's what she asked. She asked, sorry, bro, I've got to cut you off because I remembered. She asked, why do we think it like took off? And it was because of the instant nostalgia, mostly for Americans, created from cryptids. So you watch American movies, they love to go camping or at summer camp or whatever. They sit around fires and tell these folklore stories all the time about Bigfoots and Mothman and all that sort of stuff. That's like instant nostalgia for them. So for that game to be released in America, and based on North American cryptids, Americans love America, right? Like I love, they're patriotic, right? That's what it's about. So that helped to propel its hype instantly. You didn't create something new and people had to fall in love with it. You took something that existed and created your own idea around it.
Yeah, for sure. And just the perfect storm of timing.
COVID.
Yeah.
Thanks, Melsky. Let's go to the next one.
Howdy, gentlemen. I hope you both are well. Kernsey, I don't know how you put up with Dino so often.
That's Danny.
You definitely deserve a medal. And if you're getting paid to do the podcast, you definitely deserve a pay rise. We're talking about the zoo and the purchase of the zoo. I think it's a really good move. Obviously, the zoo was in a really bad way before it kind of closed, and then it closed. And I think if anyone was to buy it, that wasn't a big organisation like Bandai or Wizards of the Coast, etc. I think it's cool to see just a start-up, a relatively new startup company buy MetaZoo, and obviously that company has got a leader in someone that's got a lot of experience in trading card games with Pokemon and Wizards of the Coast. So, look, it's one of those things where it's like it's either dead, less dead, or it comes back in some capacity. And I think for anyone that likes the zoo, like myself, keen to kind of see how it all plays out and what they do next, whether they push through with what they were doing before or whether it's something completely new. I think anything new is exciting for a trading card game that was pretty much dead, or if not completely dead. That's all I've got, gents. Take care and love you both.
Danny, thanks for slagging me off at the start. Didn't expect anything less. Thanks for monologuing and not asking any questions.
I love you, Danny. I love you. You call in anytime.
It's good to hear his voice again. So Danny and I and Matt used to do the MetaZoo Nation podcast. So we spent a lot of time together, late nights, chatting about MetaZoo, and it was a really, really good time. So it's good to hear Danny's voice. It's good to know he's alive off the back of a Brisbane Grand Final win because he's a big fan for that footy club. But it sounds like Danny shares a lot of sentiments that we've kind of discussed so far over the course of the episode. So,
yeah, for sure.
Thanks for having our back, Danny boy. Let's go to the next one.
G'day, lads. Your favourite Queenslander / Brit here. Quietly excited for the return of MetaZoo for sure. Definitely missing it. I guess I was getting pretty much into the gameplay when it was a thing. So, yeah, just want to get your thoughts on what they may do with that. Do you think they need to simplify the gameplay? Do you think it was fine as it is? Definitely a gameplay question. Keen to hear your thoughts. Cheers, lads. Love your work. Bye.
Yeah, it was. Thanks, Swano. I thought he was going to say it's your favourite queen, and then he went Lander at the end. I was like, almost got him. But I think it's going to be interesting because the game is technically difficult to just sit down and learn how to play it. Like just in terms of there's a lot of things that you can do and a lot of things, like with counter spells and stuff like that, it always makes the game a little bit more difficult. So that will be the most interesting thing to see what they do. It's going to be hard if they decide to continue on from where it was. You then have to create a ban list and go and ban a bunch of cards if you're going to errata the rules and change it and make it more simple. So I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know which way they go, but that's kind of like what you've got to think. If they're going to do their own thing from the start, sure, change up the gameplay and make it however you want. If you're going to continue on, you've got 7 sets of cards sitting behind you already that exist. So you're going to have to think about, and that's the game is at whatever complexity level people want to say it's at that point. The only way to simplify it then moving forward is to eliminate a bunch of those cards.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether the fourth wall effects, whether they remove that from gameplay, because from outside MetaZoo, copped a lot of flack from different little TCG communities looking at it like ridiculous. You've got to wear high heels to get 5 damage on your unicorn or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And rather more just focus on the balance, because I know when we used to play a lot, like games could really slide really quickly.
Yeah.
And after playing Flesh and Blood for so long, you find that the games feel a lot closer right from start to finish.
Yeah.
Whereas I remember in MetaZoo, there were some games where once you've lost control, like it's over. Like it's really hard to get that back. But I'm probably not like knowledgeable enough around, how would you do that? Is it a complete slate?
It's literally all you can do is basically what I said.
Yeah.
Like literally that's what you can do.
Yeah.
If you want to make it simpler, but you want to continue off from where it was, you've got to ban a bunch of cards. If you're going to start your whole brand new thing and do your own thing, you can make it as simple as difficult as you want.
Yeah.
So thanks, Swano, our favourite queen. It's Lander.
G'day, Dino, Kernsey, it's Froggy. Still absolutely loving the pod. Keep it up, guys. Just with the speed with which everything seems to happen in TCGs at the moment, constant releases of new sets and, other promos and things, how long do we realistically think before we're getting any new MetaZoo content?
Froggy, my favourite Perthian or WAian. I don't know which one. I don't even know if you're from Perth. I know you're in Western Australia, though. So thanks for calling in, brother. But we did touch on this. I said, in my opinion, based on the amount of money spent in Q2 next year, I think is when something would come up. I wouldn't anticipate to see anything by the end of this year because it's getting very close. And I still think there'd be a due diligence settlement period beyond the October 9th. So I dare say, in Q2 next year is when I think we would see anything new MetaZoo. And I highly hope that it's not a pre-order.
Yeah. Since we spoke about it a little while ago, I'm thinking now it might even be later than that because if things like gameplay and ensuring that the stock, the quality control, the product is right, you don't want to go early.
But they should already have that planned. You don't go and throw $2 million at something if you don't have that planned.
It's true.
Which I also did say earlier. Like, if you're going to go and throw $2 million at something, you've got a plan already.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got a plan.
There is one way we could get the answers behind this. Maybe one of the four could come on the podcast. We'll
work on it. See who we can get on to have a chat, have an exclusive. That'd be pretty special. But yeah, Froggy, I'd anticipate Q2 2025. See how we go.
Thanks everyone for calling in today. Make sure you go check out the Speak Pipe link down in the description. As you can see, the first time we listened to these questions is live on the pod. So we had a little bit of repetition there, but that's the beautiful thing about getting our immediate response. This is the greatest thing about this.
It's as close to live as it can be until we do a live.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone who called in.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So, all right. Well, we're coming to a close for episode 15. But before we do, we got to visit the Hobby Rumble. Now results, Kernsey. Kernsey gets a Guernsey.
Hey.
I mean, I gave you a win.
What do you mean you gave me a win?
I actually do like Ho-Oh more than Lugia, but I knew that just people out there prefer the ocean seagull as opposed to the rainbow bird.
To Mike Savetti and to Z's, I'm going to give one of these ones.
Give one of those ones. Absolute bloodbath. 83% Lugia, 17% to me. As we edge towards 10 losses, whoever that's going to be is going to absolutely cop something horrendous, which should be a bit of fun. We're not going to get there by the end of this year. Maybe we will. I don't know. I can't remember how many we've done, but
I've only had 2 wins so far. So
yeah, and I won the rest.
I think you've got 5, don't you?
Yeah, it must be something like that.
2-5.
Don't know. Here's an updated scoreboard we prepared earlier. But today we are going to rumble again in the theme of MetaZoo. I'm for the greatest set of MetaZoo that came out and why. And I'm going to say that it was Nightfall. Kernsey is going to say that it was Wilderness. I'm happy to let you kick this one off because I think you're in for an absolute belting.
Dino, the greatest thing about Wilderness was the initiative of handing over part of the company through the tickets, something that we've never seen before. Now, regardless of what happened after that, right, the thought of let's include Willy Wonka style 5 golden tickets in there with, I think it was 1% ownership of the company.
Yeah.
Just a crazy, crazy initiative, something that was like so exciting that for all collectors, every time you opened a pack, you could have pulled the golden ticket.
Yeah.
And there was also the good act of planting trees per booster box, so 100,000 trees planted. A great initiative for the environment, sustainability, a real trailblazer when it comes to TCG sets.
Such a trailblazer that, as mentioned earlier, it was the beginning of the end for MetaZoo. Everything up until Nightfall they did, we'd said earlier in this episode, was pretty much bang on and what it needed to be. Then they released Wilderness. A reverse holo heavy set, doubled the print run, put in these Willy Wonka tickets that now mean nothing, held no weight. whereas Nightfall was the one that put the game really on the map. A dark set, the first booster box ever to have hollow foil on it. First booster box probably ever to be glow in the dark. It was a set with a real secret rare chase. You could only get the secret rare in the booster box. Nightfall was the catalyst for MetaZoo growing in Australia anyway. I mean, the reality is I did a stream last week, and what did I break? Nightfall. Did it sell? Yeah, because it's Nightfall. Because it's the best set ever. It has all the big beasties. It's got the Grim Reaper. It's got the Wendigo. It's got the Mothman. Any Mothman in Wilderness? The poster boy of MetaZoo?
No, none in Wilderness.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's a pretty easy one here, guys. I think after getting absolutely punished by Lugia last Rumble, I should happily get the win here because Nightfall, in reality, when you look at the facts, you look at the set breakdown, you look at the secret rare, Old Scratch is still the most expensive secret rare. I'm pretty sure the last sale I saw of an Old Scratch was actually more than the most recent sale of a Red Ink because there's so little Old Scratches out there. There's far more Red Inks out there. So while I can appreciate what Wilderness is in terms of is Wilderness better than Nightfall, jog on. You got no chance.
There's one thing you're forgetting. Wilderness birthed the Prism Aura. There was only one card that was in every single deck across play. It was the Prism Aura. Pulling a Prism Aura, there was no pull bigger than that. You pull in the Mothmans, you pull in the Wendigos. No, the Prism Aura was the chase. Those first 3 sets, that was a massive, massive card.
At the time, Kearns, I totally agree. If you go back and look now, Prism Auras, there's no nostalgic attachment to that. People still get off like Mothmans, like Mothman pools and Grim Reapers. People are attached to these cards. People are not attached to a Prism Aura. I've sold a bunch of them that I had, because whatever. I still got all my Grim Reapers, right? I still keep all those. You've made some valid points for Wilderness, and I can appreciate it. But Wilderness is the straw that broke the camel's back. It was basically from that point on that MetaZoo's reputation slowly started to get punctured. Up until that point of Nightfall and after Nightfall, there wasn't really anything you could say that the company did wrong at that point. It was Wilderness where they went wrong.
Print runs were extremely high. For me, I've got lots of memories attached to Wilderness. Lots of our friends.
A lot of people do.
A lot of people joined MetaZoo in Wilderness, so a lot of our friends joined.
Because it was cheap. You could get a booster box from a wholesaler at half less than cost.
We did charity auctions where we cracked 1,000 packs in one seating for Wilderness.
That was rough.
I remember running around to conventions, picking up boxes of Wilderness everywhere. There was the stream where we set up. We dressed up in all green. They did overprint it, but goddamn, there were some great memories that came with that from our community.
Well, we are going to let the community decide. You will see the post up on our Instagram at @the_hobby_pod. So please go give us a follow, get on there and vote. But that is probably going to be it for today. We are running right on time, which is awesome. Been a really good episode. Good one to reminisce. This could have been a 3 to 4 to 5 hour episode, I reckon. But, there will be more to talk about over the coming months with the developments that happen with MetaZoo. So, we'll kind of leave it at that. Is there anything else you want to add, Kearns?
Next time we see you will be post PAX, and I'm so excited for that. We've got 3 days. We've got the content passes. Plan on seeing a bunch of people across TCG, cosplay, gaming. So really looking forward to that.
So technically this episode drops and we've just been at PAX for the last 3 days. But right now we're about 3 days out from PAX. So yeah, that's going to be huge. Hopefully all of our friends that we've met at PAX over that weekend that's coming up that we plan to meet, and you're now watching your first episode of the Hobby Podcast. Thanks. It was awesome to meet you, and we had a great weekend. Just trying to plan for the future.
Love it.
But all right, well, that's it. That's Wheels Up, and we are out of here. Thanks, Kearns. We'll see you guys on the next one.